What's up, YouTube? Alright, doing something different. We're in the car. I can get a little bit more light. It's a nice day. It's a little bit overcast and cloudy. Alright, so I woke up to an email this morning. My first time ever getting an email, which is kind of awesome. And it was about AI art. I don't know how much I want to get into like the specifics of the email. Maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. Make sure my phone's on mute. It is. So I don't know how argumentative I want to be. I like arguing a lot, especially about art. Art is probably one of the few things that I can get really, really into. So I'm coming from a welding class right now. And the whole reason I'm taking the welding class is because I want to do sculpture, basically. Metal sculpture. Just for fun. I doubt it'll ever be like a serious thing for me. But I like trying everything with art, basically. I like digital art. I like painting. I like playing with textures with painting. So plaster, basically. I like woodworking in a conventional sense. And then I also like wood carving. I bought a chainsaw just to be able to carve up blocks, big blocks of wood, a little bit quicker. So far I haven't made anything that I'm too proud of. A little bit. I have stuff outside the car that I could. That's not the point. I'm a crappy artist. I have fun with it. It's more just a hobby. But I do kind of consider myself to be an artist. I would say yes. It's weird because I've made a lot of money over the years doing art stuff, and I don't consider any of that really to be art. It's related to art. It could be considered art, but like shooting a wedding, it's not artistic to the person doing it. It's just a job. Doing headshots for like a play or whatever. Some of the plays are interesting. I've done headshots for whatever they're called. I can't say the word. Cabaret, whatever, for basically drag shows, which those are super fun, and they're interesting, they're unique, but it's not really art. It's it's work. You're doing a very structured thing. You're doing it to get a paycheck. You're creating a pretty image for people, which a lot of times when people say art, in their mind, it's just pretty images, which that's awesome. And to me, art can be whatever you want it to be. It's whatever it is to you. My problem comes when people tell others what they can consider art. So I consider lots of things to be art, and I consider lots of things, for me personally, not to be very artistic. So I don't really consider my Noida videos to be art. They could be. It's weird because the unintentional parts of them can sometimes be art. Like you're building up a story over time throughout a run and that's not really me doing it. That's the game developers have created art where it builds tension and you get up your hopes and then you eventually get noited, and it's usually funny. It's painful, but it's also funny. Now I'm thinking about my most recent run. Yeah. So maybe that's art. Maybe it's not art. That's up to the observer in my mind. So yeah, that's the main thing to me is people are suddenly trying to define art as art is something that humans created. Or humans created with intention. One of those two things. And that's never been what art is. There was a whole, I don't know how to pronounce it, but Dadaist movement? I don't know. Duchamp, whatever, the guy who created the fountain, which is just a urinal that he signed our mutt and put up in an art show. And that's not art until you view it in that way, and then it becomes art. Or Johnny Cage's 4 minutes and 33 seconds, I think that's what it's called, 4 minutes and 33 seconds of silence is basically just the audience listening to their surroundings for 4 minutes and 33 seconds. And is that art? I mean, he's a better artist than I'll ever be. He's more famous, like, he's better in every way. He says it's art. I think it's art in that it gets you to think, which that's really like the ultimate goal of art, is either to get you to think or to get you to feel or something. So if an AI generated image gets you to think, gets you to feel, even if it gets you to feel angry, like I'm pissed off that artists are losing their jobs over this, then that's art. Yeah, that's art to me more than like a pretty painting that you're like, that's beautiful and they put tons of work into it and they captured this. You're like, yeah, but a photograph looks about the same. Like, now some pretty paintings, they'll manage to get something where it does make you feel something. But sometimes, a lot of the time, it's just a pretty image. And to me, like, that's not really art. It's, but it's cool. Again, it can be art to you, and I don't judge that at all. I think that's awesome. Whatever has meaning to you. But it is really weird to have people try to come to others and tell them, like, you're hurting artists by using AI art. I don't know. Like, I don't consider the people to be artists if they're so close-minded that they won't even, like, consider using these new tools. People said the same things when digital cameras came out. I started out right when digital cameras were starting to come out. Like, my first camera was a Nikon D40, which I would say it was still worse than film by a good degree. But my next camera was a Nikon D60, which was pretty similar to the D40, but a little bit higher resolution, a little bit better autofocus, a little bit better low light. And I would say the D60 was about when digital cameras could compete with film. Then you go on to the 5100, the 7100. I shot with a friend's D90 and D80 for a while. Yeah, doesn't matter. Not the point. But the main thing is, film photographers, when I was first starting out, they did not consider digital photography to be real photography at all. You don't have to think about anything. You don't make any decisions. You can override what the camera is doing manually. But, like, you don't pick which film speed you're using before you go to shoot. With a film camera, you have to make that decision. If you want it to be black and white, you have to shoot with black and white film. If you're going to shoot in low light, you have to shoot with fast film. With a digital camera, it's just an automatic ISO setting. You can set your aperture, you can set your shutter speed, but mostly the camera just does it for you. I don't even think about white balance. I haven't thought about white balance in a decade. I haven't even seen, so we used to use physical white balance cards. You would hold them up. Like, you'll see before they do action on the movie behind the scenes, them holding up the color cards. I don't know anyone who uses those anymore. I used to know that. What is the point of all that? And that's talking about the difference between a film camera and a Nikon D60 that... When did I get that? A D60 would have been like 2008, I think. 2007, 2008? We're 2023. That was 15 years ago. Now, digital cameras do insane things. They have eye autofocus. You don't even have to think about focusing anymore. I don't even know what focus mode that camera is set to right now that's recording me. I just assume it's going to get it all right. It'll get the lighting right. I didn't even consider any of that. I could have. But really, even if I was going to consider it, I would just say underexpose one stop or overexpose one stop. I wouldn't figure out, I need a 1/60 shutter speed, and I need a 1.8 aperture at 640 ISO. Like, why? Why even do the math? Like, there are reasons to learn those things. They control the depth of field, how much is going to be in focus and how much is going to be blurred out. They control lots of things. It's good to learn them, but it's not necessary. The camera just does it all. And I kind of see it the same way with the AI art. The AI art is a bit different. This is unique. It's doing things for us to a whole different degree. But it's coming. It's happening. Like, you can't undo it. That's like trying to argue nobody should shoot with digital cameras. Get rid of your cell phone. Your cell phone is the devil. Like, no, that's the future. That's where we're going. If it works, you can't outcompete. Like, you can keep doing the old process because you enjoy the old process. So you can still shoot on film today, but it's going to be expensive. It's going to be lower resolution. You're going to have less control over every variable. And you have to wait 2 weeks. Not really 2 weeks. You can go back to your house and develop in the darkroom instead of sending it off to get your film developed. But a lot of times you had to wait 2 weeks to find out my focus was off the whole time. Like, that lens is just miscalibrated and everything is blurry. Or you have to wait 2 weeks to find out you're underexposed, you're overexposed, your white balance is off. Like, it's a whole different world. I can't even I wish I need to know people who did things like the old school way and then now do them the new school way. To be able to communicate how different it is. Like, you're not a photographer if you take pictures with this camera right here. You just aren't. But it's cool. I like doing it. And I'm not actually judging people. You are a photographer. It's a whole different level of work. I don't consider myself to be as much of a photographer as the people who had to struggle through film and had to have whole rolls ruined because they screwed something up. And you can't see that live on a screen. Like, it's just a different level. I have so much respect for that. It's like I have respect for people who paint and who sculpt and who do all of these things. And I do have respect for digital artists. I talk crap about them. But that's just because they're being so sensitive right now. And people are being sensitive on their behalf. If you keep doing innovative things, then you should just make use of whatever tools are available to you, basically. So work that into your workflow, whatever that means. You just have to make use of the AI art. You can't bury your head in the sand and say, I want this to go away. Like, it's not happening. It's here. It's here to stay. So yeah, that's my rant on AI art. I don't know. I don't think I specifically called out the person by name or anything. I have responded to their emails a bunch. It makes me happy. I like arguing. I like fighting. I'm just rehashing the same thing over and over again. I don't like when someone makes themselves the authority on art. So all of these things I'm saying about art, like, that's my personal preference. I'm not telling you how to feel about art. That's just how I feel about it. Except to say that basically anything can be art. That one, I think, is just the reality. I don't like trying to define art as it's only this very specific thing. It's whatever has meaning. It doesn't even have to have meaning, but to me, that's what it is. It's whatever you want it to be, which is a worthless statement, but you know art when you see it. You know it when you feel it. And there's nothing to me that says, like, this has to be created by a human or with intention. I have seen plenty of things. Like, you can just walk through a forest, as lame as it sounds, and look up at the light coming through the leaves. And is it my observation of that turns it into art? Maybe. Like, you can listen to nature sounds. You can listen to the rain falling and get enjoyment out of that and be like, this is a perfect moment. This is art. And that's what artists try and capture. But you're trying to show the world the thing that you're seeing. That's what you're doing. As a very general thing, that's what artists a lot of the time are trying. I don't know. That's what I try and do. Not really. I mostly just take pretty pictures of people. That's what I would like to try to do. It's starting to rain. Just starting to sprinkle. Which is part of the reason that I wanted to try to record this. I'm like, ooh, I could maybe get a little bit of rain in my car. That would be perfect. I like the idea of it. I don't know if I'm going to try and edit this down at all. Probably not. Probably just going to post it. Do I post this on a different channel or to the Noida gameplay? Probably to the gameplay. So yeah, another nice thing is, since this is all just a hobby to me, if it bothers you, you're welcome to leave. I don't care. I do like getting emails, even from people I disagree with. That's the first email, so that was awesome. I like getting comments. I like arguing with people. It's not really fair to that person, though, because I want them in the car with me so that we can go back and forth. I don't know anyone who disagrees with me on art in real life to argue with. Like, I know people who do modeling, who do photography, I don't really know. I know two digital artists, but they don't live in the same city as me. Maybe I could get them on. I'm trying to think where. I think one of them moved to California. The other might be close by, like a 2-hour drive. But again, I don't really think they disagree with me. I think it's just some very online people, like Twitter digital artists, and like DeviantArt people, and ArtStation people, like people who are a small subset of even just digital artists who just rail against AI art, which is so weird to me. But they're the most vocal group because they get a lot of views on Twitter, basically, and on Reddit, and on YouTube. I think YouTube is over half the artists that I see on YouTube are positive towards art. Way over half. It's mostly just DeviantArt and ArtStation. But I get why they're negative towards art. Because when you look at the art feeds, everything you see is AI art. So I think they're a little bit justified. The Twitter ones are weird. I think people just like fighting on Twitter. Because Twitter, you kind of get to decide what you want to see. Unlike DeviantArt, it's going to be in your face. You can't avoid the AI art at this point. I get them being upset. But the Twitter, I can easily keep that out of my feed, I think. You have to go out of your way to see it. With YouTube thumbnails, it's stupid to me because, like, this is the perfect application for a mindless, like, AI to create it. You're creating... That's like if Red Bull gives you wings. If you use an AI to do, like, logo design or the label for, like, a pickle jar at the grocery store, like, no artist, yes, you do it for money because you want to get paid, but nobody cares about that. It's not something where you're like, I created that pickle label. Who the hell cares? Like, let a machine do that. Let the humans do the stuff that's interesting. So, like, humans excel at doing things that tell a story and have meaning. And it's hard for an AI to have meaning to their stuff, so far at least. So, like, if you go back to super old, like, cave paintings aren't good because they have, like, some crazy amount of technical skill. They're cool because they're, like, 10,000 years old. And it's amazing that they've stood the test of time. And it's amazing that we have this view into something that was created by people 10,000 years ago, or whatever the time frame is. Like, if an AI generated an image of a cave painting, it wouldn't have any value. Like, it might be kind of cool. You'd be like, oh, that's kind of okay. But it's not like it would be the same as going to that cave and seeing it. It's not like it would be the same as going and seeing the Mona Lisa in person, even if it creates something that's as visually appealing as the Mona Lisa. I think, yeah. Digital art screwed up art so much. It's cool. I like that it brings it right to us. I like how accessible it is, but it also cheapens it a lot. Like, I'm just thinking about the art that I've sold over the years, and my favorite art was all, like, physical stuff. And even just with photography, it feels so good getting, like, I haven't had any huge prints done of my stuff, but I've had from weddings, just having couples print out their stuff. Like, I'm trying to think what size. I don't even know what the sizes are anymore. There was like 24 by 30, I think, is probably the largest size. And seeing a photo that you took up on the wall in the real world, that's a cool feeling. Seeing it as, like, their Instagram story, I don't know. It doesn't have the same feel. But I'm not saying, like, we should get rid of digital art. I'm not saying I hate digital art and you shouldn't do it. I'm just saying, yes, things change. And it does kind of suck. Like, it was cool when tables and chairs were all handcrafted. I'm trying to think what it's even called. There's a style of chair. It's like the Queen Anne style? Something. It's like when they have the spiraling curves at the feet, and they have just lots of curves to the furniture. If you think of Beauty and the Beast, the cartoon, the furniture in there was all... Is it Queen Victoria? Victorian age furniture? Maybe. Something. I'm terrible with actually knowing my art history stuff. Like, I can see it and I'll recognize it immediately, but I don't know what the exact eras are or what the artists are. I'm fans of them. I just don't know their names too well. Yeah. So it kind of sucks that it's no longer this, like, exclusive high art type thing, but it's also kind of awesome that anyone can create art. It's pretty cool that you don't have to devote years of your life to learning a skill to be able to create a stupid thumbnail for a YouTube video that you're like, I can't spend more than 5 minutes worth of effort creating this thumbnail. And I don't even think, like, the best artists, well, I know, I can just straight up say, the most talented digital artists cannot create a YouTube thumbnail as good as the AI can as quickly. Like, it's just not possible. The AI is so quick. So, if you want to create 200 unique, small, whatever size images that make you happy and that are better than just copy pasting the same exact image and changing the episode number, that feels like the perfect application for AI art. The other alternative is I guess, like, technically you could pay somebody like $5 to $20. You wouldn't get anywhere near that quality to hand create digital, but it's going to be crappy art that you get for $20 and under. And you're just losing money, because I've never made a cent off of any of these YouTube videos. I have off of other channels, but not off of the gameplay channel. So yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I'm rambling and repeating myself and not having a back and forth discussion, because you can't really do that. The other thing I could do would be to actually read and respond to the email, but I don't see the point without being able to, like, it's saying things so beyond ignorant to me. Like, they're mind-blowingly ignorant. All of the arguments that I hear against AI art, like, there are some legit concerns, but they don't really have to do with the things that people think that they do. People consider things stealing. Or, yeah, I don't know. Like, all art is derivative. Maybe you can find some exceptions to that, but the exceptions are going to be bad for the most part. They would have to involve somebody, like, spending their life in a sensory deprivation tank and, yeah. I don't know. Good artists copy from each other. They learn from each other. Not that I'm a good artist. I am not. But bad artists, good artists, like, the point isn't to come up with this completely unique thing only in your mind and express it into the world. That's not what art is all about. And people seem to make it out to be like that is the thing. Like, this thing created this thing derivative of this other. Like, that's awesome. That's good. That's what we want. I don't understand this whole idea. Now, if you're straight up stealing, then that's straight up stealing. So far, I haven't seen the AI art doing that. I would even go as far as to say that they each have, like, their very own unique styles. I can tell the difference in general between even just the Midjourney, like, variations. Version 1, version 2, version 3, version 4, and now there's like a 4A and 4B. But then there's other ones, Stable Diffusion. I can tell the difference between Stable Diffusion and DALL-E. DALL-E has, like, more of an ethereal quality. Things are softer with a little bit more glowiness, I would say. Where Midjourney's unique. And all of them suck at doing hands so far. So if you're a digital artist, just focus on hands. But the AI is going to be able to do everything pretty quick. Yeah, I welcome the AI so much. If it can create awesome things that I like to see and that I like to... Hopefully, I want it to be able to create music. Like, if I could plug in music that I like and it can generate even more of that music, that is enriching my life. And then artists have to learn to evolve, to adapt, to create new things, to fill in the gaps, or to use the tool to make something even better than the tool would have made just on its own. Humans are really good at... We're really good at identifying what makes us happy. We're not always good at saying, like, why it does, but, like, that thing, that speaks to me. I don't know why it speaks to me, but it does. So the AI creates the thing, and we get to curate it, basically, and say, that is good, that is bad. And eventually it'll all take over the world, and we'll live in the Matrix. But we might already be living in the Matrix. If that's a possibility that we could end up living in the Matrix, then chances are we already are. Yeah, the people in the Matrix seemed happy. It doesn't matter either way. You just have to Like, even if we are living in the Matrix, even if AI art is taking up, you have to make the best of whatever situation you're in. You can't. Yeah, I don't know. All right. Long, pointless AI art rant in between my welding and my woodworking classes is complete. If you guys have thoughts, probably not. If anybody actually watched all of this, let me know. I don't know. Give me feedback. Disagree with me. Argue with me. Thank you for the email. The email was actually art. It really was. Because it made me feel things. It made me think. It made me want to fight and argue. Yeah, I like that email. So thank you for the email, even if I disagree with you a lot. And I am rude in my replies. I was going to say sorry for that, but I'm not sorry for that. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Thanks for watching.